Can my Amazon store name be different from my company name? Yes, sir. It can. It certainly can. It actually, some would say it should. You could make it whatever you want. I would say if you have any type of presence on social media, especially if it's large, it's not the wisest decision to have your store name match your LLC because people can find you. Like, say they know your LLC and they want to know where you sell on Amazon, then they just look on Amazon or Google your name, and the first thing that comes up is your Amazon store. Now they can see the products that you sell on Amazon. Maybe they're in the same like niche as you are, like, IRL in real life. And now they know your business name, right? Now they found your Amazon store. And so they sell those same products you do or can get them. And now they're going to get on Amazon. You know what I mean? And there's much worse scenarios, specifically with being known and then people knowing what your storefront is, because a lot of these storefronts are automated. You can get wrecked. You don't want to get wrecked. There's little to nothing to gain to having your storefront public. You know what I mean? Unless you're an influencer or whatever, and you're trying to use that to bolster sales of your course or whatever it is. But be wary of sharing that information for your competitors online and in real life. It's not the best idea. Ooh, I like this. Autumn Goodrich says homebrewed hustle. I like that because I don't know if that's saturated or not, but it's hustle, it's brew, and homebrew, and it's home brewing. It's like a triple entendre because there's nerd factor in there. Oh, coffee's so good you can make it while you're on a live stream. What's up, the great Pasco? Eric Barraza, Reezy, thoughts on liquidations, overstock to sell on Amazon FBA? Great question, Eric. A lot of people do this. I don't know too many people that do this as their primary business model, but I do know that you're going to get a lot of, not quite working stuff, as is broken parts. You're going to be testing stuff. And just know it's not always going to be, obviously your suppliers are going to vary, what you're going to get's vary and stuff, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of work to it. There might be a lot of good stuff on the outside edges of the pallet that they showed you the pictures of, especially if you didn't see the manifest. And then the inside is all full of crap, and you're going to have to liquidate it here, there, eBay, maybe potentially have a regular yard sale or flea market, or have someone you sell it to regularly, or have a warehouse sale once a month where you just open the door and let people come in and everything's sorted. These things are $4. These things are $6. Like, whatever. It's definitely profitable, and you could find plenty of videos of people doing that on YouTube, but it's hard to trust those because companies reach out to me and they're like, hey, do a liquidation sponsorship video with us. Any company you can think of has reached out to me, and they're always like, we'll send you a pallet of really good stuff, and then you make a video. And I'm like, but that's not honest. If I make a video and you load it for me, I'm getting the white glove treatment. That's not right. I can't ethically do that. You know what I mean? And they're not even trying to pay much. So, that ain't going to work. You know what I mean? So just be weary of that. And all I can say is just try it out. You know what I mean? But, these big companies that anybody can find online easily, and, there's a reason they're easy to find and a lot of people know about them. They're not always the most profitable. So just know what you're getting into. Also, how's the audio and the video besides the minor strobing on the purple? And if you guys have any suggestions on different colors for this light, I can change it. I got one of these special dealies. Just kidding. It's like $20 on Amazon. Should have a link for that. Oh, big shout out, Scott. Scott came through, got some coffee for ninjas. Appreciate you, Scott. Jay on Instagram says, how do I go about finding an inspector to look at my products when shipping from China? Jay, I do not know the answer to that question, but the person that I defer to, that I trust for private label, is Matt Loberstein. He has a YouTube channel. He has made a ton of content if you shoot him a message or go through his old content, Matt Loberstein, he's not making much content right now. I think he's kind of burnt out, but he's a very trustworthy dude. He's also a Gary Vee fan, which is how I met him. And his advice is super solid. He's a smart dude. He wouldn't point you wrong, but you're on the right path because you need to get an inspector. And if you're watching this and you know the answer to that question about where Jay could find an inspector, please put the comment in the chat now on live, and I'll put it on the screen or later, and he can read it later or whatever. But and for those of you that don't know what an inspector is, I don't know why I did this, I just talk with my hands, I guess, but when you do private label products and you order from, or I guess there's probably other reasons to do it as well, I'm just not super experienced in this. My one time failing with private label, I should have done this, but basically when you order stuff from China to be made for you or whatever, especially the first time from a new supplier, it's very important to have an inspector, which is a third party outside of the company that's producing the products, come in and inspect the products before you finalize the payment. So you might pay half up front, then they'll produce all of the products that you're going to purchase. Then your inspector will come in, will open up like 10% randomly of stuff, make sure everything's good and exactly how you wanted it, send you pictures, etc. Then when you approve it, then you send the rest of the money and your stuff comes. And this avoids the chance of you getting cheaped out. So for example, the products that I try to do private label had a lot of stitching involved, and the sample was great. And then when my 500 units came in, they were all terrible. Stitches were everywhere and it was a huge mess. And it wasn't worth it really for me to send it back to them. And they weren't really messing with me because it wasn't too much money. And so I could have saved myself a ton having an inspector. So lesson to be learned, get an inspector for your private label product situations. Hold up. This is a problem. Coffee, talking, gotta have water. Who spotted the Michelangelo in the back? All right, Jennifer says the purple hue is good. Demand says everything is fine. Here you good. Very nice. I like. Do you the Beach Bum says, do you deal with sports and trading cards? I don't, but I'm looking to getting into that. I actually just recently spoke with my friend Paul Beagle. Shout out Paul Beagle on Facebook. He's going to be coming on the show. He's not social media person, just a friend of mine that I know on Facebook that's also a longtime Amazon seller and has owned a card shop for a long time and been in sports cards, trading cards for like 25 years. So he's going to come on and do the show. But obviously we are in the thick of it. People are trading cards left and right, Pokemon, all of this stuff is happening. So I am definitely learning about that stuff, especially as my lifestyle scales more towards the content side and less of the actually reselling side, just because it makes more sense for me to do this. Those types of things are much more exciting to me because you can put a lot of capital into them, not a lot of labor, and they take almost zero space to store a stack of PSA 10 cards in a drawer. You know what I mean? So you'd be a fool to ignore that market, but I personally don't know. And I'm trying to learn. So if you're out there and you want to connect with me, reach out, help me learn, because other people need to learn too. And we can help a lot of people. Lupe says, coffee at this time, boss. Yeah. I always drink coffee at this time, especially when I'm trying to get people to buy it. But you ain't heard that from me, okay? Tex-Mex, we got you. Hold up. Let me hit you with this real quick. Where'd it go? Tex-Mex says, how do I respond to a manufacturer who says they can't give me prices less than retail? They claim item is loss leader for that retailer. That could be true. I mean, honestly, if that's true, what price does everyone else sell it for? Do you know any other distributors that have that item? I guess you said manufacturer. So if you're actually talking manufacturer, not a distributor, that could just be the case. Maybe they're telling the truth. I don't have a ton of experience with wholesaling. The one thing I do know is that if you want to get a better price, you need to order way, way more. And one good strategy that I recently heard, Larry Labarsky, Watch Me Amazon, who is a huge wholesale resource influence dude, makes He's killing it. Check out Watch Me Amazon. He said that he likes to send an order to his supplier like, hey, okay, that's the price. This is how many I'll order. But if the price was this much, here's how much I'll order. You know what I mean? So kind of like ask for a better deal. And even if they say no, they can't or whatever, you still send them that. And then they see the money and it's just money sitting there and they're like, well, like I should just take the money. You know what I mean? So it's like a little extra chance to make the deal or whatever. But I don't really know, you can't tell if they're telling the truth or not with that. But loss leaders are huge, guys. That's why retailers hate resellers, is because a lot of people don't understand this, is that a lot of resellers don't understand why retailers don't like us, because we're buying the products for the prices that they sell them for. We're putting money in the store. They're in business to sell products for the prices listed, right? Right. So why, what's the deal? The deal is that we're buying the highly sought after products that they're often selling for little margin to negative margin as a loss leader, to bring customers into the store to hopefully attract them to purchase other stuff while they're in store, right? And we're removing those products and the customers know the products are gone, so then they're not coming into the store, right? So that's why they don't like it. It's not because they're trying to be good Samaritans, though some of them might be, but on a policy level, for example, like Target's anti-reseller policy, it's based around stuff like that. It's not based around putting out extra energy to, stop us just because they don't like us and because they want to be good Samaritans. You know what I mean? They want to sell their products, but they also want people to come in and buy more than just that. We come in and buy 72 Lego sets, the same thing. And that was the set that was supposed to bring in 72 people to all make $7 profit on 7 random things that they didn't plan to come in and buy. You know what I mean? So there's that. And I forget how I even went on that tangent, but let me get some more coffee and we can have some more tangents. You know what I mean? Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. How do I set up selling to markets overseas? How much is it and is it worth it? Great question. So while I don't have the exact answer for you to say, go here and do this, let's have a little discussion about this. So think about it this way. If you lived in the UK and you wanted to sell in the US, what would you have to do? Right? What would you have to do? You pretty much know the answer to that question as an American citizen who's already done it. All of that shit is the same shit you have to do in the UK or in whatever other country that you're selling in, but there's a little bit of nuances, right? So it's actually a lot easier, I think, for example, for UK sellers to sell in America, because UK has all these VAT taxes and import fees and whatnot. But just make your Amazon account, get your bank account set up, or you can even use Amazon to forward your finances from your overseas accounts back to America. At some point, that's not the best way to do it, because the transaction fees or the currency exchange rate fees that they use are not that great. So you can save a good amount of money by using a third-party currency exchange and a localized bank that then transfers your money overseas once it gets to a certain point or whatever. But it's definitely huge. A lot of us should be selling on different marketplaces. I actually think that if you're in the UK and other countries, you should sell in America. It's so much easier for you to sell here than it is for us. Get set up, get a bank, you know what I mean? Get a prep center, do OA, wholesale, whatever. Way, way easier than for us to go over there. I think that's the beauty of America. It's just easy to make money in America. It's also really expensive to live here. Let's see, but yeah, imagine, you sell in not just America, you sell in Canada, Mexico, UK. I'd say UK and the EU is probably like your bigger, thing you should be looking at. But imagine when you're doing research for products, whatever your business model is, you're not just looking at .com, you're looking at .co.uk or Australia or whatever marketplace. So there's stuff you're going to find that's not good for US, but it is good for over there. Or if you live in the UK, when you find it and it's not good for the UK, make sure you check the American market to see if it's good over here. Add what it's going to cost you to get it over here. See if the math makes sense. Make some dollars. Let's see. Jonathan says, is there any reason Amazon would not ungate a new account with an invoice order on toys? Yeah, it's called ABS, and it stands for Amazon bullshit. And if you've been on Amazon long enough, you've learned how to wade through it. Like after, that's your reward. You don't get like a watch, for being like a seller for like 2 to 3 years. You get a pair of waders that you strap on and you wade through the Amazon bullshit. Amazon's system is so huge and automated. There's this multitude of things going on all the time that are wrong, incorrect, bad, out of our control. And you have to learn how to deal with it to just to continue on. And so this is one example of Amazon of ABS, right? And so you need to resubmit. Just keep submitting. Many, many times you have a invoice to get ungated. You submit it, they deny you. The answer is submitting it again and again and again until they take it, because they're not the workers that run the approvals for the ungating. They are incentivized by processing reports as fast as possible. So there's literally no benefit in it for them to approve your report. They just need to get through the reports. And so you need to keep submitting it until you get an honest worker that's actually, not trying to hit, their speed metric or whatever, and is going to actually read it and go, oh yeah, and approve you. So just don't give up. Be persistent. Let me see if I can still read the chat. If I can read the chat with my glasses off, I can take them off because of the glare. But it's it's probably not the greatest idea for me to take my glasses off. Not the best idea. I could if I could pop out the YouTube chat, but this chat interface that I'm in right now is StreamYard, which is a great streaming platform for you guys. Maybe I'll just clean them off real quick if I can. I have chat from YouTube, both my Facebook group and my Facebook page, and Twitter/Periscope, all going at once. So when you make a comment, there's like a little icon next to it that shows me what platform you're from, which is definitely interesting. If you guys have any questions, there's 127 people watching in total. I appreciate all 127 of you. Please smash the like button, please. If you haven't, come on, just hit it real quick. If you're on Instagram, I got love for you guys too. Sorry that this angle that you guys have is like under my beard. You probably got like my beard drift in that view. Andrew on Instagram says, what's the best way to ungate Microsoft or Apple? If I had the answer to that, I wouldn't give it to you directly, because if you guys know me, I like to teach people how to fish, not give them fish. And if I give you that answer, you're not going to learn how to fish. So if I'm giving someone that answer for something like that, it's going to be someone who is in my paid monthly group, my private group. So unfortunately, have you tried ordering from Microsoft.com? You know what I mean? Maybe try that. You know what I mean? See what's the cheapest thing on there. Order 10. Submit that. Try that. Submit that 10 times. I've been approved for brands by submitting a blank sheet of paper multiple times. So it's not rocket surgery. You know what I mean? You'll figure it out. Eric says, text Bill Gates. Come on, bro. Come on. Ben Bamboo. Let's get deep, guys. Bring some questions in here. Ben says, can't even speak. Ben says, what's your take on FBA prepping centers? Any specific recommendations for prepping companies and or your method for vetting them? So I recently started using a prep center, and I should have started using prep center years ago. If you live in a state where you pay sales tax for the products that you purchase, and you do online arbitrage at all from places where you can't use your sales tax exempt certificate, like Target or just random sites that don't support, sales tax exemption, you need to have a prep center, because when you ship it to them, they're in a tax-free state. And so if I order a $100 item to my house, California has 9.25% sales tax. I got to pay $109.25 to get that item. That is hefty, right? But my prep center, which is in a tax-free state, that item is $100. Now, here's the beauty of it. On average, I'm getting charged $1 per item, $1 per item for all-inclusive processing, right? To get it sent to FBA, and like $2 to $3 per box, depending on what size box. So usually more than one item fit in a box, right? So it's like about $1 or so. So imagine this. you're saving $9.25 and then paying, $2, whatever, you're still up $7.25 and you didn't touch the item. And so a good prep center, the one that I use, they have access to my inventory lab account as an employee, and they create Amazon FBA shipments for me through inventory lab. So we have all the full accounting and everything, just like I would do it. And I was even able to instruct them a little different about how I would like them to do it. And then it gets uploaded and stuff just shows up like magic in my FBA account. And not only am I saving money, I'm not touching the product. I'm not dealing with a bunch of packages. I'm not dealing with a ton of cardboard. I'm not dealing with the HOA at my neighborhood being mad at me because of, all of those things that I just mentioned. You know what I mean? I'm not having to get a super duper jumbo size recycling bin at my house because I have 93,000 cardboard boxes, So definitely a huge plus. As far as recommendations, I don't have any recommendations for them. The one that I'm using and that people in my group are using, if I shouted it out, it would be full overnight. And so that's not fair to that company or to the people in my group. So if you guys know about any prep centers that are open, please put some in the comments. I know if you are in the UK, that Kev Blackburn, Life Success Engineer, has a prep company. And it's not just in the UK. I believe he might even have US places now. I'm not super duper sure, but it's pretty much like a life-changing experience here. Let's see. Do you invest in stocks or index funds? I have. I don't actively, but I do put money into, IRA, this or that, whatever. I have people that tell me what to do, but my business partner manages some of that stuff actively because he is a trader, but I'm not personally doing it myself. I do have some passive stuff that I've put money into, like that I'm not trying to deal with, like often, like Bitcoin, or I have, money going into my automatically managed Acorns account or whatever like that. But I'm not specifically interested in stocks like as a day-to-day thing. I don't have the attention span for it, I don't think. But as far as a long-term investment, retirement type shit, definitely. Let's see. Reezy, what does it say here? What would your ultimate pack be for a newbie? What do you mean, starting pack? I'm assuming you're meaning a starting pack. Clarify with me real quick and I'll hit you back. Let's see. How long would it take to get ungated in toys, games, groceries by selling books? It could take a long time, Kimberly. It could take you 6 months. It could take you 12 months. It could take 90 days. The thing is because what you're talking about is to get ungated through reselling. That's called hitting maximum approval, which is an internal Amazon term. And then what that means is that all of a sudden you're considered like trustworthy by the algorithm and you'll get approved to sell a whole bunch of stuff. It could take a really long time. No one knows the exact recipe. All I could say is sell like your life depends on it. And in 3 to 6 or 9 months, you could hit it. But it's also dependent on whether or not Amazon opens the floodgates. So this is something that we've only realized in the last year and a half or so, is that it's not only this unknown threshold that you have to reach to become eligible for maximum approval, but Amazon has to have a need for more sellers to where they open the floodgates, because what happens is all of a sudden large amounts of people are like, I got approved for Nintendo today. All of a sudden, maximum, oh, I got maximum. Oh my God, I got Nike today. And it will be like, I'll see 300 people in one day saying they got Nike. Granted, I see thousands and thousands of people's posts every day or whatever, but as a sample size of everything, to see 300 people got approved for Nike, through maximum approval ungating or whatever, that means that Amazon flipped some kind of switch. So, my advice to you, Kimberly, is not to wait for it, but to buy your way in by buying 10 of an item from a supplier and submitting invoices to get ungated and to just continue forward. So if your plan is not to sell books long term, then use 100% of all your book selling money, if you can, to fund your invoices that you're buying, not to make money, right? You're not buying these products to make money. You're seeking out the cheapest item of that brand that you can find to then send in an invoice with at least 10 of them on, so that you can get approved. And I promise you that without consulting anyone or paying anybody for their ungating guide or whatever, if you just try a handful of websites, some of them will work and you'll be surprised. Some of those ones that you just randomly decide to try for even big brands such as Nike or Nintendo or Disney might be the ones that you get instructions about how to get ungated for some company that charges you 300 to 500 bucks. So don't be scared to try stuff, right? As long as it's a legit website, the weirder the better, all right? In my experience, right? You're like, "Huh, that one? Okay." You know what I mean? But I can't just give that out to you guys, you know what I mean? Especially since people in my group use that. So that's my advice to you. Unless you want to sell books forever, which is not my advice to you, start investing that money to buy your way in to new brands and categories. Nice. Leandro says that he's about to switch to a prep center and focus on wholesale accounts. Awesome. Let's see. Mike says, customer claimed I sent fake shoes and left a 1-star review. Amazon won't accept my Marshall's receipt and also doesn't want to remove the feedback. Any advice? Yeah. So this advice is going to help you going forward, but it might not be as much of a help to you right now, Mike. So check it out. When you purchase shoes from places like Ross or Marshall's or Burlington or TJ Maxx or Home Goods or those kind of stores, any of those items that you buy to sell on Amazon, the receipt doesn't say the brand name on it. It will literally just say a bunch of numbers because that's the internal SKU or UPC for the store or whatever that represents that item, right? And so the problem is when you get an inauthentic claim, that receipt doesn't really save you because it doesn't say Nike Torch for, anthracite black on there. It just doesn't. So it just says some numbers and Amazon doesn't care about that. So what you have to do, and I'll give you two things you can do. So one, if you're prepared, what you do is, and this is what I do, is you take a picture of the shoe, right? So you take the box, right? So you got it from Marshall's or whatever, you got the box. You put the box on the table with one shoe on top or both shoes, whatever, with the tag still attached, the Marshall's tag, right? Where you could see it in the shot. So then you take one picture that is the shoes on top of the box, right? With the price tag from Marshall's visible and still attached. The box, is there, the side with all the information, everything you would ever need. You could clearly see that the box and the shoes are brand new with the Marshall's tag on it. And guess what? That barcode on the Marshall's tag and that number on the tag on Marshall's, that matches the number on the receipt. So you need that photo and that picture of the receipt to prove authenticity. And it works 100% of the time. Now, do you have to deal with ABS and maybe submit it a few times? Of course you do. That's regular. That's what we deal with as Amazon sellers. Now, if this has happened and you don't have that picture, you might be able to finesse. If you go into the store and talk to the workers and explain the situation, you can sometimes get them to show you the computer screen or the retail gun that they use on the floor, right? And I'm only familiar with Marshall, so I can't say it for Burlington or Ross or whatever, but I imagine it's the same. The screen will say the actual shoe on it. So when they see it on their screen, like the receipt just shows the number, but on their screen, it actually shows the item name and the number. So if you can get that picture, that can save you as well. I recommend not having to get that, because that requires a lot of finessing. So just take those pictures. You don't have to photograph every single one, but everyone that's different, everyone that has a different barcode, right? It's a major, major problem. Also, a big misconception. A lot of people get this confused. A lot of people think that retail receipts will not work to prove authenticity. They will work 100% of the time, as long as you don't give up in submitting them. The problem is that they do not work 100% of the time to get you ungated for different brands, because that's not an invoice from a supplier. It's a retail receipt. Now, you might be surprised. It might work sometimes. Blank sheet of paper worked for me a few times. So retail receipts prove authenticity. Yes, always keep your receipts for like 2 years. Take photographs of your receipts. You can set up a quick workflow on your phone using if this, then that, or using Evernote. Evernote is dope because when you photograph stuff, it recognizes the text in the photographs, makes it OCR, and then you can search for the photographs. and it's way easier than you think. You could just open it, take a picture, automatically be sorted into a folder, see all your receipts by date, and just move on, but also keep them just in case you need them in the future. But the digital stuff will save you for the most part. Smash that like button for me real quick, guys. Appreciate you. Let's see. Hands. So I'm gonna put some more water in this coffee real quick. So somehow I got this beautiful coffee. Did you guys know? Did you guys know that I just released a coffee brand and there's a link in the description and you guys can purchase it? How'd that get there? All right, so second round on that one's chilling. Let's get this focus going again. All right, we're focused. Let's see. Grinder says, did you think about putting out a digital product on Gumroad like some of the dudes you're following on Twitter? Really seems profitable. Yeah. So a long time ago in a land far away, your boy released an ebook that I wrote in 12 hours and I released on my birthday 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't know. And to this day, I'm legitimately very proud of that product. Yes, it's $67. Is that expensive for an ebook that you can read in an afternoon? Yes. Will it make you that money hand over fist? Yes. One person that bought that book made 10 grand in a few months after reading that book that they wouldn't have made if they wouldn't have purchased that book. So obviously that's not going to be everyone's results or whatever, but I did, almost to date, almost 30,000 in sales on that book. So without a doubt in my mind, that is the most profitable activity I've ever done in my life as far as the 12 hours that it took to write that. And then, even if you count every minute that I've actually actively spent pushing it, on top of that, it's still probably the most profitable activity that I've ever done. But I suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome. So if you guys know me, I didn't get in the game to do that. A lot of people get into social media to do that specifically. That's not why I got in the game. And so I struggled with, doing that for a long time. And people have been telling me, for a long time to do that. And I finally hit a point where I was like, you know what? I don't feel bad about not doing that anymore. Like, I feel like I've earned it or deserve it or whatever. So like, I'm very far on the side of, or at least what I think of, yeah, Reezy paid his dues. It's, he's not out here to scam people just to show up and drop a course right away, So that's just me. Maybe I made a huge mistake. I don't know, but I was never in it for the money. I was in it for long term. And ultimately that might be a huge mistake. I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I'm making it all up as I go along and learning, just like, most of you doing anything else. Right. So I can't pretend like I got everything, but we are filming the course right now. We're like 65-ish% done, maybe 70 if I'm exaggerating. But it will be done in the beginning of 2021. It will be the best book selling course ever. It's going to be called The Gateway to Amazon, more than a book selling course. So it's going to be everything you need to know about selling books and everything else you need to know about selling on Amazon in all of the other categories and different types of business models on Amazon. So obviously not a full detailed for everything, but enough of everything that you'll know, hey, I can do this with books, get my capital up, and then go do wholesale. And this is how I'm going to do it. And this is the software I'm going to use, or online arbitrage, or RA. And this is the strategy. You know what I mean? So, and also as an entry point to Amazon for people that like sell very big on eBay but don't understand Amazon so much. That's kind of the way I wanted to do it, more than just like, hey, how to sell books, because books are great, but I think the best thing about books is that it can take you from zero capital to, living good. And at the same time, you're learning how to sell on Amazon for very cheap or no risk, which is like the best platform in the world to sell on with the most up opportunity to anyone. And then when you get up and you get approved and you got capital, you got more options. You don't just keep selling books forever and ever, unless you just love books and that's your thing. But I truly believe that as you scale your capital and your own value of your own time, that you need to change your business model to where you can spend more money and buy things that cost more and buy more of them or whatever that ratio is so that you can keep moving forward, because used stuff in general is hard to keep that supply going. It takes up a lot of space. You spend a lot of time processing and conditioning items, right? So with used stuff, you need a lot of labor and you need a lot of space. If you sell all new stuff, you need way less labor. If you use a prep center or something like that, you need way less space. You know, you can process it faster. You need less space, right? So don't just be a hamster in a wheel. You know what I mean? That was the longest rant, and I don't even remember what the question was. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. Cynthia says they keep deactivating the listing for pricing errors. It's crazy. Do you have any advice for that? Yeah, I do. So check it out. Amazon this year, Amazon started doing this pricing error deactivation. So basically, they're using an algorithm to decide, hey, your price is too high. And again, we don't know what their algorithm is, but they deactivate your offer so it's not available to be purchased by the customer and it goes inactive, has a pricing error, and we have to fix it. And so if you price after you list and you list a lot of books, for example, this is one way that people like to list books in bulk. It sucks because if your repricer doesn't catch your high default price and bring it down to an acceptable level within their algorithm definitions, then all of your inbound shipment gets hit inactive and you got to bring it back. Now, the problem is that if you're not willing to just throw everything down to the buy box price, you don't know what price to bring it down to. So you have to literally just arbitrarily lower the prices and lower them until Amazon takes. And depending on how many items you have listed, this could be madness. So if you don't have too many, you could do it manually. If you have a ton, you're going to want to use a spreadsheet, and you're literally just like, lower it $1, lower it $2, lower it $3. Oh, it took, let me put it up 50 cents. Oh, it went out. And that's how you can kind of find what the threshold is. But nobody really knows. And unfortunately, the algorithm actually adjusts over time. So listings that have more customer complaints are going to have tighter requirements for going inactive on prices. It's all in the customer's best benefit, though, guys. You got to trust. Let Amazon do the thinking for you. I'm just kidding. Oh, shout out, shout out Andrew Roy. Appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna have to take a big drink of water for this one. Hold up. So, Andrew, sad news for you, bro. We actually closed down the bulk book operation. So, bulk books shut down in, was it March, April? When COVID really first took off, right? We lost our supplier. As soon as ish got real, right? We lost our supplier, and we were only, I don't know, we were less than 6 months in the game at the time. Maybe about 6 months. We were kind of just starting to figure out all the kinks and like get everything going. And, you know, we had a few workers, you know, and like it was going good. We were not losing money. We were going to make like 100,000 in year one, but then we lost our supplier. And because we didn't have, you know, another supplier from another company in another place, we actually had another supplier, but it was the same company and they all had the same policy for COVID. And so they all shut down. Right. And so we didn't have any other suppliers that we could get inventory from, and we were screwed. Right. And so we did everything we could. We did all the work we had in the warehouse, and ultimately we had to send our employees home. It was very sad, but we can't afford to pay people when we don't have work to do. Right. And so then at the same time, all the crazy opportunities were hitting for retail arbitrage, right? That was when we all became drug dealers and everybody was selling, you know, vitamins and supplements and emergency on Amazon for just crazy, ridiculous prices. A lot of us almost got suspended for that. So thank God we didn't. But so we were doing that and then selling weights and selling pools, and like all of a sudden the money was just coming in so easy, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. And it was like I hadn't been focusing on retail arbitrage much because I had been doing, you know, the bulk operation. And I kind of started to notice what was happening with supply and COVID and all this stuff. And, you know, I learned about bots, software to purchase stuff online automatically. Like all kinds of stuff happened this year. And so I sat down and I was like, look, especially because the supplier called me, you know, right after I had basically just shut everything down. We still have the warehouse. This is our last month in the warehouse, by the way. I got a call from the supplier and was like, hey, we're back on. You want to get back on? And I had basically, 3 days to call back. If I don't take it, someone else was going to take it. They're in line to take the supply, and you have to take all of it, and sign a contract short term, or you can't get any of it. And so I was like, okay, look, I got 3 days. Do I sign this contract and get all of these books coming into the warehouse packed? I'm loading and unloading the truck myself. Then I also have to put ads up, hire people, train them. At the same time, it's Q4, RA, bananas. It wasn't Q4 yet, but it was like the beginning. You could taste Q4 already. Like in Q1, basically, there was blood in the water. And I just made the decision, like, fuck it. At least for now, we could always sell books. We could always come back and sell books. We got money right now. I didn't make a YouTube video about it, but we got the $150,000 EIDL loan. So that put us up like even way more, so like, we're not struggling, you know what I mean, at all. Not that we were before, but like we could buy a lot of stuff right now, no problem. And things are the way they are. So we just went all in: retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. And for the last, since like March, we've been using the warehouse as a skateboard training facility, and then just using the office to process FBA shipments for consignment and for retail arbitrage. So unfortunately, the books stopped, but I learned a great lesson, and I kind of spoke about it earlier. And that lesson is that you need to be going forward in your life. And unless selling books was the thing I wanted to do forever, which it's not. I want to do this. I want to help you guys. I want to make videos. I want to talk to people. I want to travel. I want to create cool products. I want to do all that stuff, right? And so I have to level up. I can't continue to put my time into that. You know what I mean? And so everyone needs to figure out what it is for you, but it's important to understand is like, look, for me to do that, I would have to grow this to a level to then pay someone to do it. So then I could then step away. So that's like 2 levels I have to hit, all the while I'm putting Reezy Resells on the sideline. You know what I mean? And for me, and for the situation I'm in, that just didn't make sense. And not to mention that the profit is way more doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage right now. So books are still great. I just think that going forward, this lesson I learned is going to help me to teach a lot of people to say, look, used stuff is very great to sell. It can take you from poverty to, having a decent car, to paying your house payment, to quitting your job, to eating better food, to everything's great. But if you want to get to the next level, like you want to buy a house, you want to, have, very nice things. You want to not work as much. You want to not have, used shit around you all the time. You're going to have to start switching it up and get into new products, whether it's wholesale, private label, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. You got to scale up your money and your time, and you're not doing that with used stuff. So nothing against that stuff. That shit saved my life. I love it. I'll always sell books, but bulk books, it just wasn't for me. So sorry if that was like an 8,000 minute long answer, but hopefully that gave you guys some insight on that. So there's a lot of ways to make money, but you need to decide which one's best for you. Which one do you like to do? Do you even have the luxury to decide what you like to do? Because maybe you don't, right? So then just put your nose to the grindstone and work. But if you do have that luxury, you need to decide, what you want to do. I see John Case on Instagram. John, we're live on YouTube. Get with the program. Put a nice question so I can put you on the screen over here. Let's see. Mike says, what is the best way to get reviews on your seller account doing RA and OA? Is it worth it? Also, do reviews directly affect your listing or the buy box algorithm? So great question. So your reviews as a seller do not affect the listing. It does affect the buy box algorithm slightly. Price is still, geez, I feel like my sibilants are just way too saucy. Price is still the main factor. 90% of the power of determining the buy box goes to the price. But if we have the same price and my feedback is way better than yours, I'm probably going to get the buy box. You know what I mean? There's other factors too, but it is factored into the buy box situation. And how to get more reviews, really, you just need to sell more stuff, because we know that only, how many things have you purchased off Amazon? And how many reviews have you left, right? So not a lot. I've purchased thousands of things from Amazon, and I've probably left definitely less than 100 reviews, maybe even less than like 50 or 30. I don't know if it was less than 30, but somewhere around there. So you figure, you could learn a lot by reviews. It indicates sales volume, and also you need to make more sales to get more reviews. The only advice I would have for you is you could try to like over deliver and to potentially get more feedback and kind of have like a nice kind of try to create a nicer touch point experience with the customer, but it's hard because you have to stay within the guidelines of Amazon. So there is messaging services that you can use to automatically message your customers X amount of days after item is marked as delivered. So it monitors the tracking numbers of the items for you. The problem is a lot of Amazon customers now enable the feature to disable the messaging from sellers, so they don't get anything. Now, that can actually help you to get more feedback by, getting in touch with your customers easy. And there's a lot of tricky stuff it does too by like saying, hey, click here if you're unhappy. And instead of sending it to the bad feedback, it sends it straight to a contact you form or whatever. Those can actually help you get more feedback. But besides just selling more stuff and then trying to solicit more feedback, even though it's not actually soliciting because you're not actually asking, what has helped is to be creative with your messaging in the ask for the feedback. So instead of just sending the de facto message, maybe you think about creating a little story or something that's funny that you could send out. For example, think about how is it Newegg? Is it Newegg that is like you buy stuff and it's like, oh, 12 monkeys are putting your order together or something like that. Like they say weird stuff like that. And that's a touch point with the customer to where you feel kind of like, oh, Newegg's cool, or whatever it is, right? I'm probably thinking about a different website right now. But if you can create a more premium experience, if you can go to book sales on bag, this is a great strategy. I made a video about this, but if you're not a bookseller, it's probably not as appealing. But if you go to a library book sale, they usually have a bag sale day on the last day. Now, there is a lot of stuff that's profitable there on the low end, but if you look at it from a perspective of buying feedback, not making money. So take all of the books that are in, like very good, like new condition that have ranks of 50,000 or less and all weigh, a pound or less, and just pack your bags full of them, right? Just straight full of them, and then sell them on Amazon down to the merchant fulfilled, down to the point where you make, break even or maybe even lose a little or whatever, or make, 10 cents, 25 cents, less than your normal amount you go for. I know, but your goal is that every time one of these library sales you go to, you pick up 5,000 books, 1,000 books, whatever. And these are all going to sell super duper fast and they're all excellent condition, and you send them out and you don't list them as like new, you list them as good. And then the customers get them and they're, over satisfied, and maybe they'll leave a feedback. You know what I mean? Maybe you handwrite on the packing slip that you put in the order. I never put packing slips in order ever, but for these ones, maybe you do. Maybe you shrink seal these. I don't know. You get creative. You know what I mean? Don't violate Amazon's terms of service. I can't tell you to do that because I'm a YouTuber guy that people listen to verbatim, but a lot of people do stuff like put insert cards in there that may or may not do things that are against Amazon's terms of services. I can't advise you to do those things, but I'm just saying, like, people do different stuff, right? So Carrie says, how long do you think RA is going to stay around? I think RA is going to be around for a long time. That's a great question, though. Hold on a second. Don't drink the string. Weird. RA is going to be around for a long time, but not as long as selling used stuff. Humans are always going to be wasteful. Humans are always going to buy too much stuff. Humans are always going to throw away stuff, and other humans are going to be able to leverage their time into finding the diamond in the rough. That's always going to be around. Retail arbitrage, I don't know how long it will last forever, because you see stores like, for example, some stores are already, they just gave up. They sell on Amazon. They're selling on Amazon and on their own platform, whatever. They gave up, right? You see stores like Kohl's, and I don't know any other store that does this, but I'm sure there is. They have the digital price tags, right? So the prices on the items change. They don't have to go around and reprice stuff. It can change instantly. And I think for now, they're mostly using it just to adjust the store prices, you know what I mean? Cheaper, right? Oh, these are up, these are down, these are different items now or whatever. But in the future, What if they were matching Amazon's prices? Because they know people come into their store, scan it, and then they look at Amazon's price or whatever, you know what I mean? So why are they selling it to us for 40 if they could sell it on Amazon for 90 themselves, right? So they'll simultaneously have it listed on Amazon and in their store for 90. If it sells for 90, one of their store employees will walk over, grab it, and then ship it out. You know what I mean? So that's going to be like the first thing that starts happening. I think that's going to put the pressure on retail arbitrage, but we need a singularity in buying and selling to occur before the arbitrage stops. As long as people buy and sell in different places through different channels, you know what I mean? There's always going to be an arbitrage somewhere. You know what I mean? Like there's a popsicle stand over here and those guys over there don't know there's a popsicle stand. So I'm buying them over here and selling them over there. Like that's just how it is. It's always going to be like that. But I do think that the future brings smaller windows of opportunity for that. And this hype shit, you know, that stuff's going to be around, but I don't know. It's creative. I could talk about it for hours. Could actually try and think about what the future of arbitrage will be. Online arbitrage will go away first over retail because the whole singularity of buying and selling is easier to do. So imagine some company, probably Amazon, since they own Alexa, arbitrages the whole shopping experience to where it can't be Amazon because they're biased because they have their own platform. It needs to be a third party. A third party company will make a shopping experience that is audio based. And you just say, hey, I want buy me a cup, buy me color changing RGB strip, and it will just say, I found one for $12. It will be here in 3 days. Is that good? And it will show, I put the picture on the display. You see the product image. You're like, yeah, that's great. And then it's ordered. It's coming, right? You don't know what website it ordered from. It doesn't even matter. It's all in your email that no one even reads anymore because you only read your text and your mandatory work Slack chats or whatever it is. But when that happens, not if, when, then there will be an opportunity to have zero price disparities in online shopping. But when is that going to happen? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, probably, 10 to 20 years, stuff starts to get really interesting with data on the fly and AI. AI is the real interesting part. Flex Frank says Goodwill is looking up prices. Yeah, they've been looking up prices for a decade, bro. Michael says, why do you do retail arbitrage instead of private label? So honestly, I'm very comfortable with selling physical products, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. I like selling stuff that people already like and know about. So for example, going into private label, I will definitely create private label products in the future and leverage the attention that I have personally through social media to grow those on Amazon to then rank and get organic sales in the future. But it's like it's a long, slow grow period. You're not going to quit your job and start private label tomorrow. You know what I mean? You can literally take money out of your pocket and go into a store and buy something and sell it and make money today with arbitrage. You can't do that with private label, and it also has a much higher barrier of entry. Like, you're not going to order a product for less than $500 for any decent amount, right? So, you never know. I should have put that question on the screen. I didn't. My bad. I put it up now. Better late than never, right? Let's see here. Let's scroll down. Also, guys, if you didn't know, I released some coffee. I got a few packs of it right here. There's a link in the bio. You guys can check that out. Coffee. I'll be shipping those out tomorrow. I'm going to throw some handwritten notes and some bonuses in some of those. So stoked to see some of your guys' orders in there tomorrow. Let's see. Just Joji says, how have you dealt with counterfeit textbooks? What have you found is the best way to identify them? Wow, this question is a doozy, Joji. So there is no real way to identify a counterfeit. The only semi-logical way is to either purchase a brand new copy directly from the manufacturer or from a distributor verified by the manufacturer and compare that against what you have, or the dirtier version of that, which is buying 2 or 3 copies of the book from 2 or 3 different sellers, maybe even from different marketplaces, and then comparing those copies. But when you have one copy and you're not sure, it is so hard, especially because printers have, sometimes they change glue, or they change paper, or they change dye, and you're like, why does this one look different on the cover? And until you actually see another copy of that book that looks like that one that looks different, you don't really know if it's real or not. And in fact, these law firms that have been hired by the textbook publishers to come at Amazon sellers with these counterfeit claims have admitted that they actually themselves cannot even identify if some of these counterfeits are real or counterfeit. So honestly, I do not know. I personally don't know anyone that's actually paid out a good amount of money from a lawsuit or actually been taken to trial. I think most people just bow down under the pressure, especially, once Amazon shuts you down from force. I get, orders from these guys and we shut them down as we can, but Amazon kind of stopped our ability. They made it much harder for us to cancel FBA orders on the fly because they're working with these companies. And, it's sad to say that there's nothing you can really do, is just try your best to not sell counterfeit stuff, have backup accounts. We have several backup Amazon accounts under different names and different credit cards and different bank accounts. And if my Amazon account got shut down today, I would just shift over to another account. It wouldn't be the end of the world, right? So really, that's the only solace that we have as big Amazon sellers that depend on, our lifeblood, especially if we have employees and stuff from Amazon, is having multiple Amazon accounts, not with permission. A permission account doesn't save you in a situation like this. And again, of course, guys, this is against terms of service, but I'm just keeping it real with you guys. If you get banned over some thing that's actually your fault or it's not, they're most likely going to ban all of your accounts, right? And so having a permission account does nothing. You need a secondary account that's not linked in any way. Hit me up if you don't know about that. Bartek says, what type of books have you found to be the most profitable over time? So when I looked down and the camera didn't see all this whiteness, so it adjusted and brought it back. I have to do a white balance on them. What type of books have you found to be the most profitable over time? So by far, textbooks. Textbooks are the most profitable category of books of anything ever. But generally, it's going to be nonfiction. A good article for you to read is an article written by Caleb Roth, the book flipper. His website is thebookflipper.com, I believe. He's also the creator of Scout IQ and eFlip, super smart dude. He did an article about the most profitable categories of books. Because textbooks is kind of not really a category unless it's in reference. It's going to be, inside of like math or science usually. Anyways, he did an article where he leveraged the data of an entire library. He did a deal with them and he evaluated their collection for them using his database, but he got the entire library collection in return. And along with their collection, each, UPC or Dewey Decimal or whatever the heck it was, had the book category associated with it. So then by running it through his software and seeing what items were worth and then sorting them by the different categories and then weight adjusting it, I'm sure with percentages. I dropped out of high school in 10th grade. Don't make me do too much math. All right, guys. The article tells you which categories are the most profitable overall. And he looks at it like 2 or 3 different ways and there's a chart for it. So, if you're watching later, comment with that link if I didn't comment, and I'll pin your comment. So the link to that article. Also, just if you're looking for articles to read about, selling books, Caleb Roth's articles are genius. Everyone he writes, you should read it. It's probably the only blog notification that I get where I'm like, ooh, I'm about to go read this. So let's see. Carrie says, is it true that Goodwill pre-scans their books? I've had zero luck scanning the entire book section there. It is true, and it just depends. Some are worse than others. Some have worse supply than others. Some are better than others, right? You might find that they get books every single day, and every single day they scan books and put them out on the floor. But the guy that works on Tuesdays and Thursdays that scans the books, he's lazy and he doesn't really scan them. So if you come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the books are good. Problem is, when you get there on Tuesday and Thursday, you're going to find out that there's two other booksellers that are also there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You see what I'm saying? So there's levels to it, and you have to figure out how it works. But it's not always the worst thing that they scan them. They don't, they don't get everything. They have limits, right? So they'll scan them, they'll sell it on their e-commerce site, the Goodwill e-commerce website, or their Amazon store or whatever, but they'll be really dumb about it. They'll say, oh, we only list it for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, like 90 days max I've ever heard. And then if it doesn't sell in 90 days, they do a shelf pull from e-commerce. So wherever they store it for e-commerce, they pull it, right? And that goes somewhere, right? Usually to the outlet, maybe to the different stores. It depends. Some stores sort and list on site. They have like a listing sorting area in the back. It just depends, right? So you need to figure out the rhyme and recipe of your situation. But it's not, it's not the end of the world. 100% of all of the books we were getting for the bulk book operation were pre-scanned. And we were still making about $2.50 average profit on the books that we did pull out. Let's see. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the chat and I will answer that. Also, I'm gonna give away some coffee. If you guys want some coffee, let me know. I'm about to give away some coffee. Let's see. Alex says, I still get profitable. Oh, I can't speak right now. Alex says, I still get profitable books from Goodwill. Must go on the lazy guys day. You gotta go. See, I don't make this shit up, guys. It comes from experience. It comes from experience. Trust me. Trust me. Let's see. This is a good question. Rob says, I'm looking to hire people to do RA for me across the US in major cities. Any thoughts? I got a lot of thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts about everything. You just opened Pandora's box, buddy. Yeah, so payment systems, right? Tracking, inventory labs, I would imagine. A lot of these things need to be figured out. There's a big trust issue. Don't overlook the management issue. I know people that have set up operations that had, teams of people sourcing that were profitable, but the management took too much time. So, if they're all local, that's different. 15 people working for you under one roof locally sourcing, that's different than 15 people in 15 different places. So while you get the benefit of people being, in different places, you get the downside of having to manage all those people. So those things are the most important. Figure all of those out. How are you going to communicate to everybody? How are you going to distribute the products? How are you going to set everybody up? How are you going to train everybody? Are they using their credit cards and you're reimbursing them? All of these things are the hard part. Buying the products is not the hard part. If you were doing like a BrickSeek model, like RA BrickSeek model, that would probably be the easiest one to scale because you could just submit lists to your team every day, like in Slack or something, and then everybody would operate out of there or out of Discord with the voice chat running for the team all day or something. I don't know. It's definitely doable, but the management part is probably the part that you're overlooking because obviously you want to have your hands in every honeypot everywhere and get everybody's stuff. Jeez. Tracy says, I found that small towns are better for books. Definitely can be true. It just depends. There's a lot of recipes that come into play for books, right? So it's like, we all know, it's all of us that sell used stuff know that like the more affluent the area is, the better the stuff is that they throw away, right? So better books are being thrown away, but also with affluency comes literacy. And so higher, more affluent areas read more, right? So they're throw away more books and books that are worth more. Then if there's colleges around, more than one, especially, there's even more books. Is there any like large used bookstores? Is it a specifically like liberal, artsy place where they value literacy. You know what I mean? You can actually look up literacy rates on, on a map and like circle it and find all this stuff. All of that stuff is going to help you. But then always you have to think how many people in that town have internet and know who Reezy Resells is, because that's going to make your life hell. Right. So that comes into play too. Right. And you might find those places where hole in the wall town, no one, there's no resellers in this town. So there's good stuff there. You know what I mean? Those same towns where you hit those thrift stores and it's good, you need to go hit those Walmarts and hit those clearance sections at Walmarts and Targets. They're probably epic. Epic. Finding that thing at the thrift store is great, but finding like 20 of something at a retail store that's all brand new that you don't have to process or take pictures of, that you're going to make like 5 or 10 or 20 bucks on every one, regardless of what it costs, and it's going to sell like, in an hour or two. That's a high like none other. It's a totally different thing than like the hunt that you get from like thrifting and finding that cool like gem that you spotted with like your super thrifter power, which I love that. But it should not be neglected. Yeah, Tracy says the most important advice, just scan. When in doubt, scan it out. You know what I mean? Just scan it out. When in doubt, scan it out. You know what I mean? Let's see. Oh, this is another good point here too. Michelle says, depends on your store. Mine did not start until recently. Mine doesn't take all of them. They just take the cherries off the top and leave good profit still, right? So they are not centralized, or whatever the word is you want to say for it. They're not all operating on the same set of procedures here, right? So maybe they're only taking stuff where they can make at least $10 profit, or whatever. Maybe they just have a hard rule where they're like, if it doesn't say 25 bucks, don't even list it. It's not even worth it. And if it's not 25 bucks or whatever, who knows what these people come up with? You know what I mean? But it's our job to get in where we fit in, right? So we're getting in where we fit in. Lots of money left on the table. They're only taking the cherries off the top. So definitely worth noting. They are leaving stuff behind. They're not experts, guys. These guys are getting paid hourly wages, and we're getting paid, based on our efforts, right? The harder we work to find this stuff that we're looking for, the more we get paid. And the same is not happening on the other side. We're much more motivated than they are. Oh, what's up, Luke? Luke said, look at this. Look how nice this is. Luke just says, how are you? How are you, Luke? Appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate that. We've been live for an hour and 22 minutes and no one asked me how I was. Sometimes I really feel like no one cares about me. Just kidding. Not to spam. I just hope you see this question. What's the question? How long does it take for payability to kick in to get started? It's going to vary for each person depending on, what your situation is. And I don't know what point of approval you are, but if you call and talk to them, you should be good. I can't tell you based on experience, because my experience with payability is obviously white glove. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to treat me really nice, right? So I can't answer that exact question, because for me, they just turned it on. So I'm sorry that I don't have the answer, but I'm just keeping it real, Bobby. James says, when listing an Amazon fulfilled book, why do some people list prices like $8 when Amazon fee exceeds that price? Good question. Hold on a second, James. So, James, some people have what is called seller fulfilled Prime. And so when you see the listing, it might look like it's fulfilled by Amazon because it has a Prime badge, but it might actually be fulfilled by merchant, right? Seller fulfilled Prime is something everybody should sign up for. It's not open right now, but that's one possible answer for that question, is that for $8, seller fulfilled Prime, they're getting bound printed matter rates or even cheaper bulk, pre-sorted mail rates. And they are making money. So their margins are different than yours, even though they look and actually offer the same everything to the customer on the shipping side. The other potential answer is maybe they are losing money. You know what I mean? Maybe they're only losing, 5 cents, but it would cost 15 cents to have it destroyed. Who knows? Maybe they're you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes there's unforeseen fees and situations. Like my buddy who has a bulk warehouse was saying that he'll sell stuff for a negative profit to to sell it because it costs him more to pay someone just to go around and pull stuff off of the MF shelves in the warehouse to then take to the recycling counter and then pay for the recycling. It's cheaper for them to sell it and lose a quarter than it is to put the item on the list and pay the employee to walk around and pick and pull all the, the duds off the shelf or whatever. So, I don't know for sure, man, but oftentimes people have different overheads than you do. Alex says, I need some coffee. All right. Hey, so if you guys want some coffee, go to my post on Instagram where I announced the coffee and just comment hashtag coffee for ninjas. And I'm going to pick someone tomorrow when I wake up out of there to send a 10-pack to. Maybe 2 people. We'll see. So comment on my Instagram post, the one that shows the coffee, right? Comment on that one, hashtag coffee for ninjas, and I will run through there and pick 1 to 2 people to get a free 10-pack of coffee. And if you want to purchase some right now before it sells out, because there's only 310 packs to ship out, and it's going to ship out tomorrow, there's a link on Facebook and in the YouTube description. Let's see, what do we got going on over here? Eric says, I'm trying to add a product that I'm approved to sell for on Amazon, but Amazon's giving me a hard time about adding. Any help? I mean, I would love to help, but unfortunately, Amazon giving me a hard time is not giving me anything to go off. So, Alex says, listing all night, need coffee. And need to get a wine refill. Tracy says, wine. I thought about making some wine cups, some like thermos wine stuff. Just Joji. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'll summarize it real quick. Pros and cons of using a prep center. Number 1 pro about using a prep center is that if you live in a state where you pay sales tax, you can order online products to them and then not pay sales tax, right? So oftentimes there's stores we can't get sales tax exemption at, like Target, who hate resellers. And then you can order stuff from them and ship it to your prep center. And even though your prep center charges you, $1 per item, $2 per item, $3 per item, whatever it is, you're saving money by sending it to them. And that margin is built in. So you're still saving money overall and not touching the product, right? So not touching the product is the second main benefit of using a prep center. And, especially if you live in like an apartment complex or you have an HOA, like I live in a condo situation and they rag on me for having packages in front of the garage, or if I order a lot and a pallet gets dropped off, they really hate that. You know what I mean? And the trash guy is always dealing with me because my cardboard's too much. He doesn't want to take my recycling. And so I'm outside for an hour cutting down my recycling just to fit it into the damn box, or bundling it with twine or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Making a trip, throwing cardboard in the back of the Audi, dumping it off at the grocery store in the middle of the night. I might have done that. I don't know. Don't snitch on me. But if you use a prep center, you're not doing any of that stuff. You know what I mean? And that's a huge, huge advantage. So not touching the products, having peace of mind, saving money on tax. If you're lucky enough to have a prep center, near you, right? So I might use a prep center in California. That doesn't make sense, right? Because I'd still be paying sales tax, but I would be using it for retail arbitrage. So some of us, not me, but some of you might be lucky enough to have a prep center that operates in the city you do, right? In the city you operate in, so that when you go to Walmart and Target and whatever, you go out sourcing for a whole day, you can take your carload of stuff to your prep center and drop it off and they'll receive it and process it for you. Now, I can't even imagine how amazing that is because I haven't experienced it, but man, it's got to be heaven. That's got to be heaven on earth. You just go all day, get your products, drop them off at the end of the day. The next morning, the squad comes in, is listing your products. You're just out getting more products again. Then you're just going and dropping them off again. Like, come on. What's your other option? Hiring people to work for you, having space for them to work in, allowing people to come into your garage and work in your home, only being able to hire friends and family because you only want to let them into your home. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of options. Scaling your business without having to hire people. It's beautiful. It's the same kind of benefits we get from dealing with Amazon. Why do we do FBA? Because we can scale our reselling business without having to get more space or more people to process stuff or to spend time shipping orders. Do you know what I mean? So let's just cut all of that out and let's just focus on buying stuff and sending it to the prep center, buying stuff, sending it to the prep center, buy stuff, send it to the prep center. That's all we should be doing. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do. But if you don't have the capital for that, you know what I mean? It's crazy, right? So like right now, where I'm at with the retail or with the online arbitrage, and like I was talking about earlier, capital brings you more opportunities. If I saw a crazy Lego deal right now, like I just saw one yesterday, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was like limit 3 on Lego.com, and it was like it was the new the new Boba Fett. I think it was the new Boba Fett slave Lego or whatever. And if you purchase it, you get a bonus Lego set and another bonus Lego set, like a holiday set plus an ice rink, plus there was a deal set off, plus whatever. It's like, plus there was like Rakuten on it or whatever. And I just dropped like $900 in like 10 minutes. And that $900 is going to make me like a quick 250. And I'm fine with that. But if you don't have $900 to just put out to wait, who knows how, a month till Lego sends it, and I'm going to send it to FBA, or I'm going to put it in the garage and just let it chill on ice because Lego does nothing but appreciate, you know what I mean? So, but you got to get to that level, right? This is a funny question. Yo, Devon says, yo, what's the best sandwich shop in Aptos? I don't know, man. I don't know. I stay eating Mexican food, bro. Burritos for days out here. That's all we do. I do not know, man. Let me know though, man. Best sandwich out here. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna say something sucker and just say like Eric's Deli, but that's like a local chain. It's like a chain, but let's see. Yeah, there's not really any bomb sandwich spots. It's weird. Let's see. We got a question. I like how he labeled it as question. Look at this. Taking it to the next level here. Blitzenbuki says, why does Amazon keep shipping one book only out of the set of 20 books? 1 of 2 and 2 of 2 is stated on 2 boxes. Are you talking about you're ordering from Amazon or from a third-party seller? I need more information. We need more input. I'm Johnny 5 and you. I need more input. Here's a good one. How do you have your shipping templates set up on Amazon? Different ones for books and retail arbitrage? Yes, actually, yes. So for retail arbitrage, so for books, right, you can always, if you're doing MF anyways, you can always media mail it. A lot of them, if they're lighter, you can first class it, but you always have that media mail, so it's not a big deal, right? You can always media mail it, even to Alaska or Hawaii or whatever. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you can always media mail it, so it's not a big deal. And we build our shipping price into our listed price. We don't charge a shipping price on Amazon, but for new items, we do everything a lot differently, right? So you don't want to, like, if it's too big, you know what I mean, and it doesn't fit in a flat rate box, we can't get UPS ground Amazon to Alaska or Hawaii or Puerto Rico. So we set different shipping templates for those, right? And then there's some different one-off situations where, for example, I can't give away the product, but something that we've been selling recently weighs like 50 pounds and it's super expensive. And we can't charge back the shipping price to the customers if we didn't charge a shipping price initially. And so like for those items, we're adding a shipping cost because of the possible return situation and the weight of the item. We need to make sure that that can be charged back to the customer when it's not our fault that they need to return it, because we're not eligible for that reimbursement if we didn't charge them shipping in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So there is some definite different situations that happen for new stuff over used stuff and books, and the way we treat them with our repricers, definitely different. Let's see here. I got like one sip of water and then I'm going to turn it into a bag of dust. I think I might do some Twitch streaming after this. Do you guys know I have a Twitch channel? Twitch.tv/Reezy Resells, something like that. Hit me up on Twitch. I'm trying to take it serious, yo. Let's see. Chandler says, I've been selling on eBay for about half a year and I've been doing well. I want to start selling on Amazon, but where do I start? Are books the only category not gated at the start? So it's not the only category that's gated, but it's one of the categories, or if not the one, that has the broadest opportunity for you to get into the platform, learn it, and make money with the lowest amount of capital risk. But if you have money, especially if you don't have a lot of time to put in that work, you could make a new account and just immediately start buying your way in by getting invoices from distributors and getting ungated, for different brands. You're going to pay right away 40 a month to be a pro merchant, get approved for all the categories you can automatically, and then start buying your way in with invoices. But that's expensive, right? And so if you don't have, it's kind of like, where do you start? Do you have time or do you have capital? And what do you ultimately want to do with Amazon? Books are the one thing that are going to be broadly available for most people, but you should be, a thrift army knife is what I like to tell people. So when you're out at the thrift store and you're looking for books, you're also scanning anything else potentially with the barcode to see if you could sell that. And when you're out at retail stores doing clearance, when you find stuff and you can't sell it, you sell it on eBay. But you also scan all kinds of other stuff, and you'll slowly just figure out what you can and can't sell. Unfortunately, there's not a list that Amazon gives us of like all these brands that, all new sellers can sell these brands. If someone has made a list of that, like, and it's available, like, bring that to my attention, please. And I will comment that link or something, and I'll let people know, you know what I mean? And I'll give credit where credit's due, you know what I mean? Your boy does that, but it's, you know what I mean? It's sell what you can, sell the stuff you can't sell on Amazon, on eBay, request approval, and just truck through it like that. But if you have money, you can buy your way in. Amazon's the only heaven that you can buy your way into. Look at this. This is really funny. Tracy says, holy hell, yes. I've been putting my excess recycling in the neighbor's cans. No joke. I have done this too. Like, my recycling's full and I'm out here like, crickets, chirp, chirp. I'm like, all right, tiptoeing in my Jordans out here. And I'm just kidding. I don't even have any Jordans, but tiptoeing at night. It's dark, right? And it's like 10:30, 11 at night. And I'm like opening my neighbor's trash cans to see how full it is, to like put 2 things in there and like 2 things over there. Like, ultimately, who cares? It's not like I'm stealing from them, right? Their trash can's not full all the way. They're not utilizing it all the way, but you feel like a burglar. You're literally just trying to put your recycling in your neighbor's can and just utilize their extra space. You know what I mean? No harm, no foul, but you legit feel like a scumbag. Oh God. I'm glad that you commented that. That is hilarious. Do you know of a prep center here in the Bay Area? I do not. Tips on fixing suppressed listings. Usually Amazon tells you, a couple things about it. You should address those things. Start there first, but ABS, we don't always know exactly what's going on. Here's a good question. TJ says, how do you determine what you keep for fulfilled by merchant? So for books, let's just go off of books, right? For books, if it might take a really, really long time to sell, especially if it's like a shot in the dark, merchant fulfill long term. You don't need to send it to FBA to, you know what I mean? There's no prime bump. It's not going to be no prime bump, right? These books are going to be worth more, right? So, but it's less risky if you have the space than sending it off to FBA. And now that we have IPI, inventory evaluation score, you don't want to lower your opportunities for anything on FBA because you packed it full of slow selling long tail books that, even if you're making the right decision, TJ, and it takes a year and a half to 2 years for these books to sell, but they sell for $75 on average, and you only paid $3 on average for storage fees. So you're a genius. You know what I mean? Amazon's going to punish you over that time period by lowering your IPI score and doing things such as not allowing you to sell merchant fulfilled toys and games during holidays, which is something people are dealing with right now. So, that's one of the main reasons. Another reason why you would do merchant fulfilled, TJ, is because you want to get the product sold right now to the customer right now. So, or like FBA delay. Like, so for example, there's a point where the deadline passes on Amazon and you can't order products to your house anymore, right? And we have the same thing, merchant fulfilling to customers, to where like there's a point where we can't get it to customers anymore. But before that point, even if we're FBA sellers primarily, there's a point where we have to go, okay, we can't send any more products to FBA because it's not going to get there in time to sell for Christmas for the impending demand. So we're going to sell merchant fulfilled so we can actually make sales for the next 7 days or 10 days or whatever it is and ship out right now. And the other one is for oftentimes like highly available products that everybody knows about. It's on sale at every Target or every Walmart in America, right? And you got it today, right now, retail arbitrage, grab it, go home, merchant fulfilled, list it, sell it right now, because you're going to sell it right now. Some people aren't like, list it before you go to bed. It'll sell before you wake up. Some people aren't going to list their shit and they got it the same as you till the morning. And maybe they got more than you know what I mean? And maybe they're not as smart as you. They have a more scared hand. You know what I mean? Other people are going to ship it off to FBA. So in a very short period, 24, 48, 72 hours to 5 days. Some people live really close to FBA prep centers or fulfillment centers, excuse me. The price is going to come down because the supply is going to go up. So merchant fulfilling allows you to capture the demand right now and secure the sale and then ship it off to the customer. So those are some of the reasons that you would want to merchant fulfill. I'm sure I, missed a couple. I'm just a guy drinking coffee on the internet. So what do I know? Let's see. Reezy, Tracy says, do you guys have any plants? We have some plants outside. Rosa has is this a loaded question? None of those kind of plants. Rosa has, what are they called? I can't think of them right now. Succulents. Rosa has a bunch of succulents. She may or may not like just straight jack a piece of your succulent from your yard because they just grow like wildfire. Now you got 42 species of succulent in front of your house. Let's see. Throat dehydrating. Send back up. Someone text Rosa. Let's see. Tom K. What's up, Tom K? Biggie says, what's your favorite wholesale liquidation service? I can't recommend one because I don't do that for a business model. Is it normal for new sellers to get inauthentic claims? It's normal for all sellers to get inauthentic claims. You could do everything by the book with Amazon, 100% by the book, everything honest, everything's good, right? And you'll still get inauthentic complaints. So think about how important it is to not try to be slimy or sneaky on Amazon and just play it by the book, because you're getting inauthentic complaints anyways. And you're going to get, potentially shut down and get your account reviewed. Imagine you're doing some sneaky shit and then they find out about it when they're reviewing you for your potential review for some bullshit automatic flag. Now you're done. Donezo. So it's completely normal. Face it like a professional. Always provide receipts. You know what I mean? Always save your receipts. They will always save you. Garanzo says, can you retail arbitrage and also private label on the same seller account? Yeah, you certainly can. Awesome. What's up? Shout out to the 25 people that are on Instagram. Sorry, guys. Haven't been giving you guys too much love. The camera's just like way, way down there. What's up, Paul? Tree City Sports Cards on Instagram. That's my dude, Paul Beagle out here. So, hey, if you guys appreciate, I'm still going. We ain't done yet. 9.5 plus 4 finnies. Add that up. We still in the game. If you guys appreciate me and what I've done for you, or even just this live stream, head over to my Etsy shop and grab yourself some coffee. This is my new coffee brand. This is specialty coffee. It's not instant coffee. It's high quality shit. Nitrogen sealed in a tea bag. It's a revolutionary shit. So you can make specialty coffee as easy as you can make tea on the go, on the hustle. You know what I mean? Get your hustle juice. That actually sounded terrible. Hustle beans. We'll figure it out. Link down there. Support your boy. Grab some coffee before it all sells out. Let's see. Awesome Cameras says, dude, I just took your advice, submitted some retail receipts for a product I've been wanting to sell for a while, but didn't have a distributor. I was approved for 2 huge brands in my field, all within about 5 minutes. Huge game changer for me right now. Like while you were on the live stream right now. Come on, bro. Who else is bringing that kind of value to you guys? Awesome Cameras just got awesomely ungated on the live stream. That's what's up. It's like a whole new world right now. Does that make me Aladdin? We can go on a magic carpet ride. Let's see. Rob says, have the majority of your FBA shipments changed from Moreno Valley to Henderson? Mine has, and it seems to be going into FBA almost instantly. Let me actually check right now. Last I made a consignment shipment, it went to ONT 8. Let me see if I can pull it up right now without, detracting too much from, or no, excuse me, not ONT 8, LGB 8. Yeah, so LGB 8 is our main location, but in the past we were shipping to ONT 8 primarily. Like in the beginning of this year, ONT 8 was the main place we were shipping to, and now we ship to LGB 8. So I don't really know, but I do know that Amazon, a lot of people in my group are experiencing extreme delays with books being received through FBA, right? And it makes sense to me because, books aren't selling any faster than they normally do at this time of the year. So why would Amazon invest their time and labor, which is limited, to receiving that? I mean, ultimately they will, but like, what's the why receive it right now? You know what I mean? They have to receive the, the Coco Melon toys that they brought in and all the other brand new fucking top 10 toys that Amazon is selling right now that everybody knows about because they're the top 10 selling toys on fucking Amazon. They got truckloads of those that have already sold through Amazon's Head Start program that are in trucks still, wrapped in pallets. They're going to receive those first. You know what I mean? So it makes perfect sense to me that book shipments are taking forever to get received. You know what I mean? It's why would you do that? If you were Amazon, what would you do? You know what I mean? You wouldn't go in there and tell your guys to like go receive Tommy's books because Tom, you know what I mean? It's not like they care about us. They care about making money. They make they probably don't even make those kinds of decisions. They have a robot that makes decisions for the other robot that they made to make decisions for the other robot. And they just go off that. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised. Shout out from Germany again. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. So Just Joji says, do you have your prep center actually price all of your products? Hey, and don't be shy to ask questions, guys. I'm here to answer questions. So if you want to ask 10 questions before someone else asks one, get your time in. You know what I mean? So do you have your prep center price your items, or you have them list the product for X dollars and you reprice later? So you could tell, at least for the one that I use, you could say price them at the buy box price, or I have a column in my spreadsheet, which is how we communicate, right? So when I purchase stuff, I have a one-click extension that cooperates with Reseller, where I just click to copyate all the information. Copyate? Did I just say that word? Copyate? It's like replicate and copy. Copies all the information from the Amazon page with one click, including my listed price and my calculated profit, and then click in the spreadsheet and paste it out. Then I put what store I bought it from, how many quantity, maybe my order ID, and the price that I want them to list it at. So great question. But you should, I haven't used a ton of prep centers, but I would imagine that most, if not all, allow you to specify what price to list an item at. That would be ridiculous if they didn't. Now, once it gets listed, make sure that your repricer doesn't, bring it down to disrespectful levels. Very important. Hustle fuel. Definite hustle fuel. Let's see. Dang. Oh, we had a bunch of comments down here that I missed. Yeah, Alex says he's got a box of books sitting for a month already. Definitely. Brand new is the priority. Money is first. Yep. Best way to start bulk, and is Goodwill a good source to start? So wherever you can get books from, that's a source, good place to start, right? So if Goodwill has them for you, go there. If it's Salvation Army, go there. If it's Savers, go there. If it's whoever, the paper recyclers in your area that you cold called, hundreds of them, go there. My biggest advice for you to finding suppliers is actually very simple. And this concept applies to a lot of shit. But when I learned this, I was fucking amazed. So get this. When you call a supplier or a potential supplier to see if you can get books from them, hey, I'm looking to purchase, bulk books or, recycled books. I'm looking to purchase books, truckloads of books. And they say no. You say, great, thank you very much for your time. Could you refer me to someone that might be able to help me out? And that little little sentence will change your life because it has the potential. They could surely say no, but most people will not say no. People are good natured by default. And when you give them this opportunity to help, they will be like, you know what? Yeah, sure. It's like a weird thing. You kind of broke their loop. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, more than 50% of the time, and probably more than 70% of the time, people would give me in any situation I use this, they give me another person to contact. When I'm calling someone to produce a product, to do this, they can't do it, they can't meet the deadline. Hey, do you know someone that might be able to help me out? And they do. And then you call them, and usually they do. But guess what? If they don't, you hit them with the same thing again. And in this way, it's not one and done. It's one and can I get some? You know what I mean? I'm just making it up right now, but you know what I mean, right? Like try that. It will help you out immensely. Big shout out to Awesome Camera for the $20. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Hit me up. I guess you don't drink coffee. You could have just go bought some. You could have just go bought some coffee, man. You could have bought some coffee, man. It's all good. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Liam for the 13.99 Canadian. Hold up real quick. We're gonna have to convert this 14 Canadian to USD. We about to see real quick. That's $10.98. Oh my, thanks, Liam. Appreciate you, bro. That is awesome. John says, can you purchase products from a different country to get an invoice and ungate it in your own country? Good question. I would imagine whatever supplier that's authorized to sell that item would be okay. And they don't have to specifically be in your country to be authorized. Like I said, Amazon will sometimes approve a blank piece of paper. You know what I mean? So um, there is one issue is that it's going to take you longer to get the products. So there is a little hack when you need to, because Amazon not only wants your invoice, sometimes they want pictures of all sides of the product, right? To prove that you have it. And a hack that you can do is to go to a store that has the products and either purchase some and bring them home and take those pictures, or take those pictures in the store in a way that doesn't look like it's in a store. If you just throw them on the ground on that same, linoleum floor that looks like someone threw up on it, that's not going to work. So get creative. And you can then submit your invoice and have those pictures before, waiting, because if you're going to import from overseas, you're going to be waiting a long time for that stuff to come in. Let's see here. A master debater says, is the FBA estimate per unit sold really an estimate, or is it cut and dry that price they charge you no matter what? Also, can you check how much they truly charge anywhere? So unfortunately, the seller app itself is not 100% accurate, but it is like mostly, for the most part, pretty dang accurate. It's pretty accurate. Sometimes there's like weight mismatches or stuff, but it's never, I mean, Amazon's not accurate all across the board. You might get charged more weight fees than you should, more volume fees than you should, and you need to like retroactively monitor that. So the best bet I can say is just to use the seller app or to use the web Amazon calculator. I think that's a little bit more accurate. But I mean, I spend thousands of dollars using the fee calculator in Reseller, which is a plugin that I recommend. And that's not perfect. It's probably just as good as the seller app calculator, and it's fine. You know what I mean? So I think if that's that big of a problem, maybe you're purchasing stuff that has too small of profit margins, or you're purchasing stuff that has very large profit margins to where those little differences matter. And in that case, you should be evaluating it with the desktop fee. That's probably going to be the best, but it's still not super. It's not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to call Amazon and be like, I checked the fee calculator and it said this, and then this like, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Ultimately, you're liable for what the fine print says. So I'm going to throw some water. I'm going to hit this with the third life real quick on this coffee, man. At this point, I'm just drinking brown water now. That's what it is, though, right? Let's see. Have you been suspended in Amazon? Never. Thank God. Wait, this is not real wood. Dang it. Hold on a second. This desk's not real wood. Good old rock solid Canadian maple. Actually, it's probably made in Mexico. 2020 corner cutting costs. You know how it is. Let's go forward here. I'm offloading Lego fast on eBay. Awesome, Tracy. A lot of Lego sets are actually out of stock on Amazon right now. So if you can sell them right now, merchant fulfilled, eBay, Amazon, you can make some good money. But for a very short period of time only. Sign up now, short period of time. How can I do B2B selling from India? Not exactly sure what you mean B2B. What are you trying to sell from your business to my business? Let me know. Holler at me. Awesome camera is about to go get some coffee too. How do you find out what seller subscription you have, seller or pro seller? So if you're not a pro merchant seller, Amazon charges you $1 extra per item when you sell an item. So if you look at one of your recent sales and you have that dollar fee, you're not a pro merchant. Also, you're paying $39.99 a month as a pro merchant, and you can see that in your transactions. So you should know about that. What did he say? Reezy, it's 2 a.m. on the East Coast. Insomnia kicked in. How do I get into the Ninja group? So it's $50 a month. We can't release unlimited spots. I hope you guys understand that, right? The economics of sharing deals in a group is a certain threshold where it doesn't make sense. The more people we put in, the more watered down it gets, the less opportunity there is for the average person. And then people become scared to post. And then it's not as good. There's less community engagement, right? So, but I can tell you that on the first of the month, the first minute of the first day on Pacific time, people get kicked out of the group automatically if their payment declines. And so if you want to monitor the Patreon group for that, you could also use this website called visualping.io, and that will alert you anytime a web page change is made to the Patreon page. And that's another way that you can see when spots open, either automatically because people left or declined, and also if we add more spots. But pay attention to Instagram and Twitter. There's at Reezy Ninjas Instagram and Twitter. That's how we announce the shock drops that we do. And it's never a lot. It's like 10 spots, 20 spots. So we can't fill it up too much, but it's based on, what we can bring in, you know what I mean? And how the temperature of the group is. So just stay tuned. You guys can get in if you really want to. Let's see. Reezy, is it the same to list globally from Canada to US and Mexico as to send from Canada to prep in the US? No, it's not. So when you do global export and is that what you're talking about, boss lady? Global export? I'm assuming you're talking about global export. Confirm with me real quick. I'm pretty sure. FBA global expert, right? Export. We're going to assume. Someone bring it up if we aren't. Okay, cool. So check it out. Global export. You should turn it on. If you haven't turned on global export in your FBA settings, go do it. I just made you some money. You know what I mean? Also apply for the NARF program while you're up in there. But anyways, global export, when you turn it on, it allows your FBA items to be purchased and shipped to people anywhere in the world. Now, they still have to go to .com to buy it. So like if you're selling, the world's best coffee, Reezy Resells coffee on on Amazon.com or .Canada, and someone from Pakistan wants to buy it, they can, but they have to go on your Amazon on .com or .ca, wherever you listed it, to buy it. So they do get the option, but it is not the same as having it available for that customer on their actual flavor of Amazon in their country, on .co.uk versus them being able to import it to UK from us. You know what I mean? You're going to make much more sales natively. How many times have you as an American seller went on amazon.co.uk to buy something because you couldn't get it on .com? Never. Maybe once, maybe twice, but probably never. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing, but it's reverse, and it's not the same as far as what your initial question was. But if you get approved for the NARF program, which is North America Remote Fulfillment, you get a somewhat of that situation where you have it at your fulfillment center, whether it's FBA or America or Mexico. I actually don't know if it's available in Canada and Mexico. I only know about for US sellers. When you turn on the NARF program, if you're eligible for it, your FBA products become listed natively in .mx and .ca. And then when they sell on those platforms, Amazon does all the work for you, and you can even let them handle all the pricing, or you can manage it separately. And it's a beautiful thing, but we don't have that yet for, overseas as North American sellers. If you're, an overseas seller, they have like multitude of options with the European Union fulfillment centers. They just send it there. They've had it for days, right? Like EU sellers, they send it in and they're selling on Spain, on Italy, on Germany, etc., all from the EU fulfillment center, which ships to all those places. I can't wait to go to the Europe again. Can't wait to go to Europe. It's so cool. You go so many places. They're so close. Um, let's see. What do you think about other reseller groups? Do you compete against them? Nah, no way. A group is a group, and when it comes down to it, like here's how I look at it. I'm doing what they're doing, maybe not as good as some of them in some aspects, maybe better than some of them in some aspects. I learn from other people's groups. You know what I mean? I'm pretty new to this Discord group stuff, right? Like 6 to 8 months. But what comes with my group separately is obviously you get engagement with me. So if that's what you want, you get that. People don't go to other groups to hang out with the person or to have access or closeness with them or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's that. But we also bring a lot of Amazon experience, right? Where a lot of very experienced sellers that have been in my group for a very long time are helping. Everyone in the group has the ethos that I have, you know what I mean? Which is, pack like leave it better than it was when you got there, help out way more than you take, you know what I mean? Share, you know what I mean? Like, because they know that they got to where they are from me sharing with them. So they share back to everyone else, and it creates a really, it's different. I'm in a lot of these groups. Some groups, they might make you a lot of money, but they might be very toxic. Do you know what I mean? So our goal is to have a much more friendly, better environment that's still that, but also, takes people and holds their hand. And we've walked, many people from 0 to 100,000 in sales in their first year on Amazon. And it's, there's a maturity level to it. We're not advising people to do things that would be, pretty dark gray hat. A lot of these groups will be like, yo, do this, do that. And I'm just like, nah, no one in my group is allowed to do anything remotely like that, because that is how you're going to get suspended. A lot of these other groups are not Amazon centric at all. Most of their sellers sell on eBay, StockX, Goat, whatever. And because of that, they don't really value their Amazon accounts as much as we do. A lot of them are real younger. They're not, we're older. We got families to feed. We're not trying to screw up our Amazon account over this one cook. You know what I mean? So do we compete? I don't think so. I think we bring a whole different thing to the ball game. And I don't think about them. So, I mean, they probably don't think about me either. So, whatever. But, shout out to everybody doing their thing, making money on the internet. That's what we're doing. Let's see. Are there any free tools for product analysis on Amazon? So, can I think so. Keepa's obviously not free anymore to see sales rank, but is camel still a thing? That might be a thing. On top of that, what else is there? Is there used to be this Jungle Scout competitor that was free called Unicorn Smasher. Let me see if that's still a thing. Unicorn Smasher. Yep, that's still a thing. That's like a Jungle Scout, like a cheaper version of Jungle Scout extension that's free. That can help you out. I think actually Helium 10 might have some free stuff that has sales rank for categories other than books, I think, which is a bummer for booksellers. But if you guys have any help with that question, please put that in the chat so that we can help each other out. In your experience, how risky is it for someone that works for a big retail company to also do retail arbitrage? Risk is, I can't answer that question because I don't know the policies of the company that you work for. So if you're breaking your company policies to do retail arbitrage, sure, that's risky. Is that job the job you need to feed your family, and do you not have savings? That's even more risky. You know what I mean? So it's very hard for me to answer questions like this. And I understand the desire to do things that are like potentially ethically, whatever, especially when it's like sticking it to the man and like maybe you work for like Best Buy or Walmart and they don't care about you and they got loss prevention and we don't really care about them, you know what I mean? But you're always, if you're breaking the rules, you're always gonna risk getting fired, man. So I mean that's up to you. You got your big boy pants on. Eric says, "Are you moving to Texas too?" I'm assuming you mean two, as in like Elon. That's hilarious. So yeah, the plan is my Cybertruck gets delivered. We're going to pack everything we own up in there, and we're just going to drive that thing straight to Texas. No, I don't know. I don't think my wife wants to live in Texas, but we are potentially purchasing a home. We are purchasing a home early 2021, and my wife doesn't want to move. My 20-year-old lives down the street. She moved out, a couple years ago. We're in my hometown. It's beautiful, but $800,000 houses here are shacks. I got to go 1.2 to get anything that's going to make me feel successful. You know what I mean? So, when I show that to my wife, along with, hey, like, look at what we could get over here, like we could get a $1.2 million house in Texas is 450,000. You know what I mean? And like, you can't ignore that difference in money. So I do think that in the future, I might potentially be moving. I want to move to Puerto Rico, if I'm being fully honest, and pay only 4% income tax, but that might take me a decade to convince my wife to move to Puerto Rico. So we got to visit first. She thinks it's like a super scary spot. I've never been there, so I don't know, but I'm not, as my income grows, I have to make that type of decision. Do I want to buy a $1.2 million house in my hometown, or do I want to buy that same house in Texas for 500,000 and then put that money into the stock market, into, something, you know what I mean? Investment. Another house in Texas to then rent 12 houses. I don't know, an apartment complex. Who knows? You know what I mean? So all of this is a journey for me. As my income grows, my opportunities grow, I learn more, and I will be sharing those and creating more content with you guys. I know I haven't made a lot of videos at all, and I haven't been doing live videos at all. And I actually really, really enjoy doing live videos for you guys. So like, confession, I was kind of nervous before I went live today. And not just because I didn't really plan anything or have it promoted or whatever or scheduled or anything, but just because I haven't done it for a while. And now that I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. I'm like auto zone. Like I love doing live shows for you guys. It's fun. And it's a great way for me to create content, keep up with you guys. A lot of times this audio can be put to the podcast. Some of you guys, prefer listening to the podcast. So it has a lot of benefits. But I do plan on, bringing the live shows back, doing a show like this for at least an hour once a week. And I would like to hear what you guys have to think about that. So let me think. Javier says, any repricing app for books? Yeah, when you're getting started, you're going to use Reprice It. It is the cheapest solution for you. And there's better, but you'll learn with Reprice It. It's very cheap. And when you get, more than 5,000 books listed, maybe you'll switch to something else. Ben says, customers claiming they didn't receive their package that was left in their porch is liability with us or delivery company for refund. So this one, listen up, guys. This is advice that needs to be consumed with responsibility. So Ben, Ben, listen to your son. For all I know, you're older than me. That was weird. So when you've purchased postage for an order on Amazon, from Amazon, Amazon is protecting, all the way through to the delivery process. So when it says delivered and the customer claims it's not, what I usually do is I advise the customer to basically like, hey, chill for a sec, check tomorrow. Did your sister check the mail? Was it under the couch? Like where, you know what I mean? And sometimes they find it and you're good with that. But then sometimes it's just not there and you don't know if they're scamming or not. But I think really what's happening is the post office is inundated and they're marking things as delivered at the hub while they're loading the truck or before they load the truck so that they can just like throw it all out real quick while they're delivering it. And so it might show up like 4 days later. So I always try to stall them as much as possible. But what you can do, and it is dangerous, it is risky, so I don't advise doing it for low cost items, is you can advise the customer to file an A to Z claim and claim that the item wasn't delivered, right? When a customer files an A to Z claim and an item wasn't delivered, but it's marked as delivered, and you purchase postage from Amazon, Amazon will side with you. They will not ding your account, but they will also still give the customer their money back and not take it from you. So you get to keep your money, the customer still gets a refund, and you don't get a ding on your account. Now, it's risky because of Amazon bullshit. It could go the wrong way for you, even though it's not supposed to. And it's way harder to fight those back once it's been completed to get it appealed than it is to ask a customer to do that or whatever. And it's not worth it. So if it's a low priced item, just refund it and move on. Because if you're unsure about what to do, consider that what you're doing trying to preserve this capital could result in a bad feedback or who knows what's happening. And if you get a bad feedback, is it worth that $20? Like, would you just pay $20 to erase a bad feedback? I would. You know what I mean? I would, if I could pay $20 to remove bad feedback, I'd go through my account and remove every bad feedback I ever had ever right now. So is it worth it? You know what I mean? Figure that out. Let's see. Reezy, do you recommend any other OA sourcing tools besides those? Yeah. So tactical arbitrage is the number one. It's the industry standard sourcing tool for online arbitrage. There's also, there's a few others, but tactical arbitrage is the one you need to learn and master. If you buy lists, they're made from people that know how to use tactical arbitrage. It's the number one tool. There's another tool called OA X-ray, which is easier to use, but very, very limited. Tactical arbitrage is like a standalone thing. It's on the web, but it scrapes, thousands of websites and Amazon, and it can do so much stuff. OA X-ray is like a button that you click on your browser as an extension that just analyzes what's on your page in front of you right now and compares it against Amazon prices to help you find faster what's profitable. Honestly, they're both useful. You could use them in conjunction because you can't always, tactical arbitrage is scraping data. It's not always perfect. Looking at the website right in front of you is just easier. Sometimes you can't find the link that leads to what you're seeing on your screen right now to get tactical arbitrage to scrape it, but it's on your screen, so you can press the button and run OA X-ray and analyze it like that. Kind of like a jungle scout for, non-Amazon websites. So that's kind of all I recommend, but really tactical arbitrage is going to be the answer. Like, invest your time in learning that software. It will pay for itself. I mean, as soon as you learn how to use tactical arbitrage, you could start selling lists to other people and making money do that. So if you think you're worried about paying $100 a month or whatever for the full package or whatever package you get, as soon as you learn how to do it, you can make money selling lists. So you run your searches, right? All your products come in, you nail it down to the profitable products. You buy up all the stuff that's like 60, 70, 50% profit, and maybe even 40. And then you take what's left, the list with the 30% ROI and less, still good stuff, just has a lower ROI. You sell that list to other people. Do you know what I mean? This is what people are doing that sell lists. So think of it as an opportunity to learn a new business model, not a hurdle that you have to get over to. You know what I mean? When you get over that hurdle, getting over that hurdle is an investment that's going to bring you money in the future, not just by you using it directly. You know what I mean? And you can train, you know what I mean? I have a virtual assistant, a VA, that is trained in tactical arbitrage, and they run searches for me daily and make lists. And then that goes into the private group every day for the daily leads. The stuff can be automated. That's the beauty about online stuff. Retail arbitrage, much harder to automate. You're going to hire people and pay them to go run around to stores. Hey, here's the job. You go to different stores and buy stuff. Whoa, that's kind of weird. Yeah, it is. Don't worry about that. That's exactly how it is. Let's see. Ben Bamboo, Source Mogul. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not too sure. Not too sure about that. Shakatoki says, what if a member in your group makes their own resell group? I'm sure it's happened. Happens every day. I'm sure there's people that take my YouTube videos and package them up into courses and sell those. You know what I mean? They rip the audio and get it transcribed and hire a VA to turn it into a course and sell that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't stop people from doing stuff they're going to do. People are determined, are going to do shit. It's kind of like, leaving your windows down so people don't break your window. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's nothing in here. Let's just leave the window down. You can't stop it. You know what I mean? People are going to do what they're going to do. But, I got eyes and ears everywhere, and people will let me know. Rob says he is in the Bay Area, but he's from Louisiana, and so he knows what's up. Super expensive. Scully says, "Are you in Divine?" I am. Shout out to the mods in Divine. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? Let's see. I got one right here from Just Joji. Do you actively use eFlip? So it's not part of my regular regime. My regular regime right now is just buying a crap load of stuff online and not books. So not focusing on books at all, except for my consignment service where we process, with the best consignment service ever on the whole planet. Nobody can do it as best as us. I'm not buying books unless I'm doing garage sale videos or, thrifting videos. Then I'm buying books, but I'm doing that to make videos because my opportunity is much greater online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and doing things like this and spending time in the private group. Can I buy vapes and sell them on profit? Is it still trendy? I don't know, man. I don't know. But if you watch some of my videos, you can learn how to see if they're profitable. So I have a video that I posted recently. I think the thumbnail says like what rank is good. But it's like, what rank to sell, how to read rank. I forget what the title is. But if you watch that video, you will learn how to see what's actually selling on Amazon. And like looking up eBay comps, once you know that, it opens up a window for you. Any advice to motivate to take photos and list items? Yeah, list your freaking shit already, Grace. The hell is your problem? Everybody motivate Grace right now. I don't know if the negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement. Go, Grace. You can do it. You can list all your shit. It's not a death pile, by the way. It is a inventory reserve. Okay. And you need to access that. So my advice to you is to link up with other resellers that probably have the same pains as you do. Like we have an accountability group, an accountability chat in my group, and you might go into all of you guys should have accountability chats. If you don't have like 3 to 4 little chats in Facebook Messenger or in your phone with people that are in the same niche of business as you're in, you're not playing this game right. You know what I mean? And so with your accountability network, you should say, hey, let's do a listing challenge. Okay, cool. I'm going to list 20 items today. And just by verbalizing that and telling people, you know what I mean? You're making yourself more accountable. At least for me, I'll feel guilty. Someone else knows. I could lie to myself really easily. No one knows I lied to myself except me. I'll mind wipe myself. You know what I mean? But as soon as I tell Tommy and Joey and Anthony that I said I was going to list 50 items today, I got to list 50 items or I'm a punk. You know what I mean? And for me, that's motivating. So find out what it is that motivates you and do it. Hack your shit. You know what I mean? So like I really like to watch this clip by Joe Rogan called Be the Hero of Your Own Movie. It's a 3-minute clip and it's on YouTube. Search it. Be the Hero of Your Own Movie. You watch this shit every morning and it gets you pumped the fuck up. I'm telling you, if you're not pumped after you watch this shit, you are dead because it gets you pumped up. It's like, be the hero of your movie. If your life was a movie, what would the hero be doing? Do that. I'm telling you, it's fucking pumped. It's the same kind of thing about watch Gary Vee when you're feeling like a wimp, you know what I mean? Suffocate your excuses, remember you got your opportunities and go and get it. You know what I mean? Write your gratitude journal, write your goals, you know what I mean? And become more familiar with those reasons that you have for doing that. You know what I mean? And if you'd rather, just play Call of Duty, whatever you want to do. Pull it together, Grace, pull it together. Ben bamboozled you with that one. He hit you with the straight pull it together. Todd Hall feels you. Todd Hall came with the supportive angle. Todd Hall feels you, right? Someone's coming at the right angle. Someone is coming with the right angle. I promise you. It's all love though, Grace. It's all love. You can do it. You know, you can do it. Insert, that dude from Adam Sandler. You can do it. Rob Schneider. You can do it. Are you using your family members to open additional seller accounts? No, I'm not. And it's a little dangerous when you open seller accounts using other people's identity. It's essentially them opening account, right? No one really knows you did it. You're just doing it as an agent for them, but you wouldn't want to do it with anyone that's associated with you because it could be seen as you possibly doing that by the algorithm, not even, manual, by the algorithm. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't make an account with anybody who I've shipped something to from Amazon. You know what I mean? If they live near you on your street, that's a red flag. Of course, we don't know what the recipe is for this stuff, and if we did, we'd hack the hell out of it. But it's kind of the advice that I got on that one. Let's see. Will your prep center receive individual packages with products of quantity 1, or do they only accept? Yeah, they take whatever you send them, man. Unless you're sending them, like the secret of the ooze, I think you'll be good. Cynthia says, how long do you think a person will take to make money in Amazon? It really depends. I've seen people quit their 9 to 5 in, 60, 90 days. I've seen many more do it in 6 months. I've seen plenty quit their job in a year. It depends on a lot of factors. How much income are you trying to replace? Do you have multiple incomes you're trying to replace? Do you have a spouse that works that provides healthcare for the family? Because in order for you to, make a full-time living off Amazon, you're going to have to also make that healthcare amount if you don't, which is expensive. I pay like over $800 a month for healthcare for me and Rosa. Expensive. So everyone's different. Some people can live off of 30,000. Some people can live off 100,000. Do you live in the Midwest? Do you live on the West Coast? Like, what is your cost of living? Are you willing to eat top ramen? Some people have a lifestyle where they're beyond eating top ramen and they're not going back to top ramen. They eat organic food from Whole Foods. You know what I mean? So where are you at? What are you willing to do? I can promise you that if you want to change your circumstance and you are ready to work, Amazon can change your life regardless of having $0. That's the only thing I can say for sure. How long will it take and what will it look like? It's different for everybody. Oh, I like this. Cynthia says, have you heard of the 5-second rule? I love this. So basically the 5-second rule is that when you have a thought in your head, you have to do it within 5 seconds. And I think if you don't do it, you're not allowed to do it ever. Is that right, Cynthia? Am I right? And that's like Tony Robbins' wife's concept. But I like that because I believe that hesitation is very bad and that we are intuitively correct with like our gut feeling most of the time. And you guys know I have a free Facebook group, right? There's like 18,000 people in my free Facebook group, plenty of people in there that appreciate what I've done to help them that will be in there answering questions from you. I don't spend a ton of time in there, but there's a community there. It's free. I have spent years of time in there, and the search function in my free Facebook group is 10 times better than plenty of gurus' courses. So go to my Facebook group and hit the search engine. It's like an oracle. I promise you 99.9% of every question you ever have has already been answered 10 times, and you can learn everything you need to know without making a single post and then just show up a year later and be like, yeah, I never made a post because I didn't have to, read everything from the search function. I did 100 grand this year and quit my job. What's up? Nice to meet you. That happens all the time. So some people can't help themselves. You got to know how to help yourself. You know what I mean? I'm here to help you, but it's saddening to invest time to help people that won't help themselves. So at a point, I have to pre-qualify you. That's why I made the free course. Too much time for me to help everyone one-on-one direct. Here's the free course. Go check it out. You're going to come back after that with more questions? Cool. Talk to me. You ain't going to even do it? Cool. No sweat off my back. This is Ben Bamboo said, no one said I was the best motivational speaker. No, we didn't. We did not, Ben. Thanks for the comedity, the comic relief, comedity. Let's see. Commuted for 4 years and I hated it. Man, commuting is gnarly. Count to 5 works like a charm. Curious if you've ever heard about the FIRE movement. I have heard about it, but I have not spent a lot of time learning about it. So financial independence, retire early. Yeah, definitely. I'm not trying to work forever. You know what I mean? Like, fuck 55. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to only do what I want to do by the time I'm 37, 36 or 37. I don't know. I have to ask Rosa. But like, by the time I'm 47 or even less, 45, 43, 42, fucking maybe even 40, I'm scared to like put a ultimatum on it. If I'm not doing what I want to do every single day, which includes, having ridiculous amounts of money so that I can take care of everybody around me and do, even more amazing things. Like, I want to make YouTube videos where I give away like, not Mr. Beast level money, but like, Junior Beast level money. That would be tight, especially if I could mix it up with reselling. That would be super tight. And then that could reach a broad audience. And those people would be like, well, what other videos does he do? Oh, he does reselling. Then that, changes more people's lives because it brings them into the fold of reselling through mainstream content. Like, there's all kinds of shit that I want to do. I totally forget how I got on that tangent. Sorry. Is the goal to eventually quit Amazon for you? No, I don't think I'll ever quit Amazon. I think that the way that I do it going forward is definitely to try to focus on ways that make more dollar ROI with less labor ROI, right? So definitely new products. We looked at wholesale a little bit, but I think for the time being, online arbitrage is going to be our focus with a mix of retail arbitrage. Also, the consignment is going really well for us. Year one of consignment, I think we broke $250,000 in sales. I'm not 100% sure for the consignment, just for selling other people's books. So that's pretty cool. But Amazon's, like the stock market, what are you going to get? You know what I mean? Like, I know I can sell physical products and get them into Amazon and sell them. I could buy Legos I just sold a crap load of Legos I sold like 50 units of the Mandalorian Battle Pack Lego set. I think I paid $11.37 a piece, and I had them sent to FBA through the prep center. So I never even touched them, and I sold them all for $29.99 the other day, which is like the highest price that set has ever been in. Right. So stuff like that, that's, where my focus is, but still reselling is, it's not super fun to me. It's exciting, but when I do it now, it's more like an investment for me as well as content, so like if I'm doing this and I can't create content around it, it might not be as interesting as doing that, which I can create content around. And I do think of it like that. So watching me might be a little bit different than watching someone who is making, all of their income off of, Amazon and depend on it to live. That I don't depend on that anymore, not for a long time. So Jeff, just to be full disclosure, you know what I mean? Our Amazon business is going to do like 950 for this year, 950,000. I don't think we're going to break 1 million, but definitely was a good year. Have to ask someone else. No, I'm serious. Like, my wife is 1 year older than me, so I just go off her age. Let's see. Follow-up question. Have you heard of or have stories on people getting fired that work in retail? Yeah, 100%. Don't do anything shady. If you worked for me and you broke the rules, I'll fire your ass too. You know what I mean? What's real crazy about having a business and having employees is like, if you have people around you that are like, yeah, I'm going to call in sick, or like, I called in sick, or like whatever the hell. They're like, I just play on my phone all day at work anyways. But like, you're a business owner and you have employees. You're like, bro, that shit ain't cool. You're ripping your boss off. Get your ass to work. I'm about to snitch on you. Don't let me find out you called in sick. I'm about to snitch on you. Unless you work for like Walmart or one of those big companies we don't care about. If you work for a small company and you calling in sick, how dare you? How dare you? What's up, Nate? What's up, Vasquez Vintage? We are not processing Gaylords. I can't go over that because that took a while to answer that question, but I answered it earlier in the live stream, so you could rewind it. Just run it back a little bit. Run it back. How old were you when you went full time, all in? Full time, all in on Amazon over 16 years ago, maybe almost 17 years now. So basically like 20-ish around there. It's when I worked at the skate shop back in the day. Here's a one. Would you ever jump on a listing, a name brand perfume, for example, where Amazon was the only seller of it and it's in keep a chart history if the profits were great? So usually that would be a red flag, right? Because when an opportunity is really, really good and there's nobody else there, that is scary to me because there has to be a reason that there's nobody else there. There just has to be. It just can't be just money just laying around. You know what I mean? That's way scarier than there being 3 or 4 other sellers there, because that doesn't scare me away that there's competition. That reaffirms to me that people are selling this product, especially against Amazon, and making money, right? So um, you never ever know, and buying a lot in that situation is definitely scary. I've had mixed results. I would like say if you had the opportunity to buy a pallet of that, and you didn't know what would happen if it wasn't too time sensitive, I would go to like the retail store and grab some of it for full price and list that merchant fulfilled and see what happens, because maybe it looks all good, but you list it and then right away you get a warning sent to you, a cease and desist letter, and that's a lot better to find out right then and there. You might even be able to take it back to the store you bought it from versus buying a pallet of something and finding out some tricky shit later. So dip your toe in, bro. Don't dive in like that, especially when Amazon controls the depth of the pool. I don't know if that metaphor made any sense, but we're trying here. I had an HR person saying sometimes you need to call off sick for mental health, aka go do your own stuff. I was like, what? That's actually cool. That sounds like a good hack. Like, you know what? I'm losing it right now. And if I got to come to work again, you know what? It's just, I need some time off. Awesome. Let's see if we got any more questions. I'm going to take off for the night. I'm going to take a short break and I'm going to go over to Twitch and do some streaming on Twitch. So if you guys want to see me get shot in the head, or if you want to shoot me in the head on Call of Duty, twitch.tv/Reezy Resells. Go over there and squad up. Maybe you want to squad up, help your boy out, because I'm not that good. I pretty much just run around saying the F word because I just get shot a lot. But it's fun. And we're trying to grow that out. So head over there, grab some coffee, support your boy. If you drink coffee, I promise you this shit's good, and you'll never make good coffee as easily as you will make this coffee. Perfect for people on the go. Take it to work, throw it in the whip, whatever. I appreciate you guys. I got to head out. We've been live for 2.5 hours. I'm going to start doing more live shows. I promise you I'll schedule a weekly live AMA like this, probably to Facebook and maybe Twitter and definitely YouTube just like this. And we're going to see how it goes. We're going to do some interesting stuff in the future. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And you know what they say. If you ain't flipping, you slipping. Peace.